We're going to wrap up confidence intervals here with a couple of concepts. One, just kind of a way we can think about confidence intervals a little bit differently. The other one is a concept that's not explicitly covered as a section in your textbook, but it's one that's a quick derivation from confidence intervals. That's something that we want you guys to know. So the first one is finding values from a given confidence interval. And this is where we just want to point out that we know how to find a confidence interval. That's point estimate plus and minus margin of error. And so if I were to give you the upper and lower bounds of the confidence interval, I should then be able to work backwards in order to find the point estimate and the margin of error. We know that the point estimate is in the middle of the upper and the lower bound. And so to find the point estimate, we're going to add in the upper bound to the lower bound and divide that by 2. And that's going to get us backwards to our point estimate. Hopefully that makes sense to you. And then for margin of error, so we know that we start off with the point estimate, that's the middle of our interval, and then we add a margin of error to get to the top, and then we subtract the margin of error to go to the bottom, which means the entire length of the interval is 2 margins of error. And so if I were to subtract the upper limit and the lower limit, that gives me the width of the interval, but that would be 2 margins of error. So then if I subtract them and divide by 2, that gets me the margin of error. And so a quick little example, put some numbers to this. If we have a confidence interval, it doesn't matter what type of confidence interval, given as such 0.28 to 0.4, find the point estimate and the margin of error. The point estimate of P, first off, want to make sure we understand, would be the symbol P hat. Why is that? Because P is the population proportion. The point estimate for that, our best one, is going to be the sample proportion P hat. So just something to make sure you're putting those pieces together there. We would find the point estimate by averaging those 2 endpoints. The average of those 2 endpoints is 0.34. And then to find the margin of error, again, we said that the entire width of that interval is 0.12. I got that from subtracting the 2 numbers. And so if the entire width is 0.12, I know the entire width is 2 margins of error. So if I just want to find one margin of error, cut that in half to get 0.06.